In today's video, I'll be getting into gameplay of the brand new champion coming to the game, the Goblin Stein. It's a 5 elixir champion, as you guys can see, with a 2 elixir ability called the Lightning Link, and it says here electrifies the link, damaging any enemies that get near. Shocking. So let's get into a few games and test this thing out. Okay, here we go, guys, in our first game. So the first deck I'm going to try it out in is actually going to be in 2.6. Basically, I'm using the Goblin Stein instead of the Ice Golem because the monster part of the Goblin Stein is essentially like an Ice Golem because it goes for buildings. As you can see, it's going for the tower, so it does not attack units, whereas the doctor behind it, that's going to be your go-to for taking things out because that's going to attack ground and air. So my thought process was it would be pretty good with the Hog Rider kind of replacing the Ice Golem, and then I was also going to try it with the Mortar as well as the Balloon. So we'll see how that ends up working out. We can just go for Ice Spirit as well as a Hog here, and he ended up going Princess at the bridge. So I guess that was pretty good because the Hog is going to end up blocking the Princess over there. And then let's go in for our Goblin Stein here, and let's just actually go ahead and pop the ability just so you guys can see what it actually does. And as you guys can see, the doctor behind is basically electrocuting everything, and the monster's going towards the tower. You can see it's getting a couple shots on the tower, not doing substantial damage. So that's why I feel like it's very comparable to an Ice Golem, just an Ice Golem that has a bit more health. So it's not going to be like a super solid win condition, I feel like, the monster itself, unless it has a lot of support going on with it. I think this is especially going to be a champion where you're definitely going to want to use the ability almost every single time. Like the Little Prince, for example, which you guys saw, the Little Prince, you don't always pop the ability. It's still going to oftentimes get value on its own. But the Archer Queen, for example, you're always wanting to use her ability. It's definitely going to be like that. You're always going to want to pop the ability when you have the monster down. And even when the doctor's in the opposite lane, as you guys can see, when you use the ability, the same thing does end up happening where it's still stunning that Inferno as well as part of that Goblin Gang. So as you can see, it's going to be really incredible for breaking through pushes. Like you see stunning that Inferno there. It was absolutely massive, and it's going to be great against baity cards. So honestly, I would say a pretty cool champion from what I have seen so far, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be ridiculously OP, at least not as broken as the Evo E-Drag, so maybe that's not super surprising with how broken the Evo E-Drag is, but it does appear to be pretty strong. But you have to keep in mind it is 7 elixir just to go in for the monster as well as the ability. So that is quite a large elixir investment, so it's not like something you're always going to be able to constantly do. But either way, this is going to be a wrap here. I think 2.6 is going to likely pair very well with this champion. That's at least as far as I know, because whenever there's these new cards, it takes tons of time to test what decks they're good in. So it's just kind of an idea I had. Then our second game here against Mimo. So the second deck I'm going to try it in is going to be with the Mortar. So essentially it's replacing the Skeleton King, and because the Goblin Stein, of course, is a champion, you can only have one champion in each of your decks. So likely the Goblin Stein is going to replace a lot of champions that were used basically in other decks. So it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out. And the Fireball doesn't even take out the doctor, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. If I pop the ability here, does it reach? It literally reaches all the way. Did you see that? Literally, even though it was so far behind, it still came into effect, like literally all the way on the other side of the map. So wow, that is just absolutely massive, the electric path. So that really goes to show the ability is just going to be very useful in a lot of situations, no matter where the goblin is compared to where you're activating the ability, where the doctor's at. So pretty cool, honestly. We're going to go in for a Mortar here. Definitely need to defend this pretty carefully because he decided to have the Knight as well, tanking for the Hog. And we got the Goblin Stein here. It's going to help clean up that Hog really nicely, especially because of that stun. And we can get ready to pop the ability. He's just going to go for the cannon. Let's pop it here. It's just going to, okay, it's going to attack in front, so it didn't at all end up stunning the cannon. Okay, so yeah, it's attacking the path that's in front of the goblin. So I think I'm like finally understanding it now. It's kind of making sense to me. But overall, as I'm testing this more and more, it's looking like this is pretty OP. It's definitely not as good as the E-Drag, don't get me wrong. Like, the E-Drag is way, way better, the E-Drag evolution. But this looks like it's going to be really solid defensively, but then also on offense. Now, let's see. The Hog is just getting defended now by the Doctor, nothing else. And, I mean, it doesn't seem like it's defending the Hog super well on its own, but like synergizing it with other things I feel like is just going to be very, very useful. All right, we're in our next one here against Marie. So I wanted to see how good it is paired with the balloon, because I think that could be decent as well, replacing basically the ice golem and balloon, kind of like it is in 2.6. So P.E.K.K.A. Okay, let's see how it fares against the P.E.K.K.A. We could just cycle it into it. I mean, obviously the P.E.K.K.A. is going to make probably pretty quick work of the monster, but maybe we could distract with skeletons here. He's going to go for a magic archer, though. Let's just go skeletons like this, and then we'll go in for a musk. And let's see how many shots it can tank from a P.E.K.K.A. Looks like it's going to be about 4, so it's not going to be very good defensively. So, yeah, it's just definitely something to keep in mind. Let's pop the ability here and see. Okay, nice. It's going to kill the magic. Wow, for only 2 elixir, because the magic archer as well as the Ewiz were lined up, we were basically able to take them out. So, the ability looks pretty busted. I think the monster is very balanced in my opinion, but the ability looks really, really busted for only 2 elixir. The amount of value you're going to get in so many situations is massive. It actually kind of in a way is a tiny bit similar to the E-Drag in the sense where it's an electric chain, but it's not as broken as the E-Drag Evo. But I mean, I will say for 2 elixir, it is getting an absurd amount of value. It might need to be toned down a tad, but I think it's something where we're going to need to see as time plays out how strong it is. It's definitely not something where you can say, oh, it for sure needs a nerf. I mean, with the E-Drag, that's pretty obvious. But with this, I don't know. I think we need to give it a little bit more time, because it could be the type of thing where it was like with the Evo Cage, and when other new cards are added, everyone assumes it's really broken, and then people realize it's actually not that bad. So let's go ahead and use it again here. Let's see how it fares against... Okay, nice. Once again, the Ewiz literally got taken out, and so much damage got dealt to the P.E.K.K.A. I mean, that's, like, pretty insane. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, if it weren't for that ability, he would have literally saved the tower there. I mean, because the Ewiz got evaporated, basically, for 2 elixir. So, in a way, it's like, in some situations, you could say it's, like, better than the 2 elixir Void, because the Void basically is 3 elixir, and it's known for being able to kill things like Ewiz. But then, with this, it's literally taken out for only 2 elixir, and you can hit multiple things as well. Like, look at this. Like, that is insane. I think the fact, too, that you can use it without the monster being down makes it really broken as well. Because, I mean, if you had to have the monster down in order to have the ability to take effect, then you'd have to have more of a strategy trying to protect it. But I think the fact that you can pop it whenever makes it look like it's going to be very, very good. But either way, guys, let me know what you think. I will say this is definitely a pretty cool champion. We knew we were getting a champion at the end of this year, and this is what it is. So let me know what you guys think of it. I guess I'm pretty excited to test out what it pairs well in. We will find that out as time goes on. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe if you guys are not subscribed already. You can use creator code BOSS to support me in any Supercell game, and let me know in the comments what you guys think about this new champion. And thanks again until next time, guys.